So yeah, obviously, the Star Wars retrospective is still going on. There's 3 videos left. I just really needed to talk about this. So Oppenheimer came out a few days ago, and I loved it. It has been one of my favorite theater experiences of all time, and I could say it could be my favorite theater experience of all time. Uh, I was really stunned by this movie and how it managed to capture both the awesome power of the nuclear bomb as well as just as well as just be a courtroom drama. Um, I think the most interesting thing to me that I noticed throughout the movie is that none of the actors feel like really shoehorned into the story. They really feel like they are belonging there, and they make sense there. I mean, the whole story is just so incredible and phenomenal, and I love it so much. I wanted to talk about the color really quickly because uh I didn't see many videos talking about that. So obviously most people know that the color scenes are from Oppenheimer's point of view, and the black and white scenes are from just from the worldview at the time. But how I like to think of it is it's more of a situation of Oppenheimer's point of view and Strauss's point of view. Um, because Strauss sees the world in a very black and white way. He sees people as good and bad, and that's it. It's his whole outlook on the world. There's good, and then there's bad, and the bad people must be eradicated. But the thing about that is that is that Oppenheimer sees it very differently. Oppenheimer sees in color and has all of these like scenes where he's like thinking about like particles and blah blah blah, and it's like because he sees this world not as like there's good and there's bad, but he sees it as a wide range of things, and Strauss has a thing where it's like he um very much thinks that Oppenheimer is not a good guy and he should be penalized for his actions. But Oppenheimer doesn't feel that way about Strauss. Oppenheimer's obviously mad at Strauss, um but Oppenheimer doesn't feel like the same anger as Strauss does. And Strauss obviously got embarrassed in the courtroom, so that's a whole other thing. Um, but uh, but all that Oppenheimer cares about is living in America as an American citizen, with proper security and but also Strauss is right. Oppenheimer isn't a perfect person. He obviously he's the father of the atomic bomb, one of the most destructive weapons in human history. But he's also a womanizer, and he's not entirely likable, and um and that's just a whole other thing. But that is all that I'm taking out of the color. Next, we got to look at performances. So the performances in Oppenheimer were gonna be good from the beginning. I mean, we know this. We like with it's just such a stacked cast. It was always gonna be good. But what I wasn't expecting was for it to be as good as it was. Um, Oppenheimer, played by Killian Murphy, um, was portrayed with such a dark brilliance, and Killian Murphy. I read like a New York Times article on him. He really put his all into it, and I mean he did such a great job. Just give him the best actor. But the real standout performance that I definitely wasn't suspecting was Robert Downey Jr. as Strauss. So obviously, like, Robert Downey Jr. is famous and stuff, but I just was not expecting, like, the level of like sheer performance on Robert Downey Jr.'s part. That scene closing in on the ending um where he's like exploding at his lawyer um about Oppenheimer. It's just like, it is so well done. Also, I just gotta say, uh, Rami Malek for the one big scene that he was in, did a phenomenal job. Um, I liked seeing Jack Quaid. I don't know. I just liked seeing Jack Quaid. Um, Kenneth Branagh wasn't really in the movie. I was expecting him to be in the movie more. I could have taken more Kenneth Branagh. But that's fine. Um, it was kind of funny to see Roderick Heffley in this. Like, it, it was funny, but like, again, the performances really shine on the front of Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, and like all of the actors. All of the actors are doing a good job. They're portraying their characters phenomenally. So the, it was all really well done. Um, I wanted to move on to the Trinity test scene, cause the Trinity test scene could be one of the most incredible things that I've ever seen in a movie theater. Um, so obviously, the Trinity test is built up through the whole movie. It's basically the climax of the movie, although there's like another hour after it. Um, but the Trinity test scene. They get all the bomb all hooked up and stuff, and um and it was just and when the bomb actually explodes, there's no sound except for the brilliant score by Ludwig Göransson. Um, it just silent, and then obviously Oppenheimer says, "I am become death," but he doesn't say it. He doesn't say it. He like he his there's like a flashback voiceover to when he was having like um things with Florence Pugh, and he said, I am now become death, the destroyer of worlds." Kind of an odd place to put it, but whatever. Um, but the actual detonation, like, it was just so amazing. It kind of captured the real force and the power, because like in like the Mission Impossible movies, which I will talk about someday, like they kind of treat like the nuke as just like, oh, it's just gonna cause nuclear war, and that's all that happened. I have never seen like a film that more accurately portrays the nuclear explosion, except for that one Japanese film that did a really good job. But I've never seen it put to like color film in the modern day in the way in 70 millimeter, like in the way that it was. Like it was something that I just couldn't have even predicted would be so good, you know. Um, and everyone's reactions to it are entirely believable. The people who laugh, the people who cry, and the people who are just stunned, you know. Um, the gym scene I want to get to next. The gym scene was also brilliant. Like, cause it's really showing like, Oppenheimer is victorious, but he's also kind of in shock as to what he's done. Um, and like, there's the whole bit about him like going to Japan, or not going to Japan, but talking about Japan, and saying like, I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure that Japan didn't like it. I mean, that was that was a pretty great line. Um, but when all but there's just this moment that really strikes me as incredible, which is um when everyone's clapping and laughing and hooting, uh all of it just stops for the singular scream of a little girl. Like, that is. I've never praised Christopher Nolan for his sound stuff, but I mean, that was incredible. Like, genuinely, like, so bone chilling, The girl with her face being peeled off. And then you can hear what Oppenheimer is saying, but then but whenever they get up to clap, you hear the noise of them getting up, but there's no sound, there's no clapping. And I just thought that was done so incredibly, that was done really brilliantly. Moving on to the courtroom stuff. The courtroom stuff was also really good, because this movie is literally just two courtrooms, right? It's like it's Strauss's courtroom, and it's Oppenheimer's courtroom, obviously in different colors. Strauss is going on to be on a part of the U.S. cabinet, and Oppenheimer is being questioned if he's a communist. To get his security clearance or something like that. And the whole movie is just them retelling their stories, from Oppenheimer's point of view and from Robert Downey Jr.'s point of view. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. isn't in it as much as Cillian Murphy, but he's in it a fair amount. And it's just so, like, for a movie that, like, is mainly just talk about, like, it is mainly just talking about the nuclear bomb, it managed to be a surprisingly subtle courtroom drama. Like, subtle is something that I would never call a Christopher Nolan movie, but he pulled it off, I think. I think of movies like Social Network or Slumdog Millionaire, which is just them the character is on trial or something, and is recounting their story, to show everything that led up to that point. It's a really interesting model, but just to see it was interesting to see two courtrooms of kind of opposing ideas saying the same thing. It was pretty incredible, and I can only applaud the movie for being able to pull off a courtroom drama about the nuclear bomb. Like, that is that is really something else. And all of that really just goes to the immense strength of Cillian Murphy as an actor, Emily Blunt as an actor, Rami Malek as an actor, and Robert Downey Jr. as an actor. Emily Blunt, in her scene in the courtroom, did a really great job. I mean, that was just such a great scene. She in the whole movie, she's just like, you should fight it, you should fight it, and then Oppenheimer does nothing, and so she goes up to the stand and she just says, "Okay, I'm gonna fight it." It's like, that's such a great scene. I think the final thing that I want to do final thing I want to talk about before I give it a number score is the ending. So the ending is brilliant. I mean, nothing short of amazing. That if it didn't have that ending, I probably wouldn't be thinking about it for days after. And it's so the ending is so satisfying, but also it also just leaves you with so many questions and stuff. I look to the ending of Everything Everywhere All at Once, when everything is just good again, and everything's fixed, and everything is finished, and it's wrapped up with a nice bow, and and I'm sobbing so hard. I was crying at the end of this movie for a different reason. There isn't an end for any of the characters. Uh, like Robert Downey Jr. gets embarrassed in court. Um, and JFK signs off on him not being a uh cabinet member. Um, then there's then there's the then there's Oppenheimer's ending, which is a lot more depressing, which is like he's gonna live with his murder of 110,000 people for the rest of his life, and he's going to be applauded and stuff, and people are going to remember him as the father of the atomic bomb, whether he was a communist or not, you know? And, um, and that final conversation with Albert Einstein, uh, uh, it was, it was really, like, on a whole other level. Uh, and the final line specifically is something I wanted to talk about. So he obviously says uh like remember how the nuclear bomb could have set off a chain reaction that destroyed the world. um and Albert Einstein's like, yeah. And then Oppenheimer says, I think we did. And that resonates with me so much. Um. Also, the end of the movie could have just been like, I don't want to set the world on fire, but it didn't. So whatever, can't have everything. But why is my hair sticking up like that? What the hell? Um, but yeah. I guess we can move on to the final number, score, and rating. So yeah, this movie was one of the greatest I have seen in a long that has come out in a long time. Like, um, this is like on par with Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is on par with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Sure, there are flaws if you dig deep enough, but this is the most like ecstatic I've ever felt about a theater going experience. And I mean, this paired with like everything else is just like it's such a great movie. It came out at the exact right time. It's gonna win all the Oscars. It's gonna win Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Soundtrack, Best Supporting Actor, uh, and like Best Visual Effects. Also, I can't believe that they detonated like an actual bomb to recreate the Trinity test. I know it wasn't an actual nuclear weapon, but they still recreated it. I just wonder what that would have been like. Also, I jumped so much when the actual explosion came in, like out of my seat. Um, but yeah, maybe I should. I mean, I guess a flaw that I could quickly mention is that they don't show the actual nuking of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But I can almost look past that because uh because this whole movie is it's a courtroom drama, as I've said, and it's Oppenheimer, recounting what happened to him, and he wasn't at the nukings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, um, yeah. Also, Truman is an asshole. Truman is an asshole. So yeah. I'm just gonna say 9.5 out of 10. This movie was one hell of a film, and I've seen it twice now. It's like every time it just gets better. All right. So long video. We're gonna get back to the Star Wars retrospective, but yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow, I think.